We divide ourselves into us and them in many different ways. By nationality, religion, gender, or which team you support. Some of these divisions are harmless, but others expose the darkest side of human nature. Divisions that once seemed consigned to history are still with us. In fact, they appear to be on the rise. I want to understand how. So I'm traveling to Maryland to meet musician Daryl Davis. He spent his life trying to heal a hateful divide.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Music is the thing. Thank you.
It brings people together, man.
You made yourself some very
Interesting friends.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Why?
Why? Well, you know, in the 4th grade, I was one of 2 black kids in the entire school. Consequently, all of my friends were white. Most of my guy friends were members of the Cub Scouts, and they invited me to join. So I joined the Cub Scouts. On Scout Day, we had a march from Lexington to Concord to celebrate the ride of Paul Revere. And I was the only black scout in this march. And somewhere down the parade route, there was a small group of white spectators, a couple kids, a couple adults, and all of a sudden I began getting hit with bottles and soda pop cans and rocks, debris from the street by this particular group of white spectators. And my first inclination was, oh, those people over there don't like the Scouts. So when I got home, my mom and dad, who were not at the march, asked me, how did you fall down and get all scraped up? I told them I didn't fall down. I told them exactly what happened. For the first time in my life, my parents sat me down and explained to me what racism was. I literally thought they were liars. I did not believe them. I could not get my head around the idea that someone who had never laid eyes on me would want to inflict pain upon me for no other reason than the color of my skin. It made no sense. And I formed a question in my mind, and that question was, how can you hate me when you don't even know me? So I figured in my adult life, who better to ask than someone who would join an organization whose whole premise is hating those who do not look like them and who do not believe as they believe. So I began seeking out members of the Ku Klux Klan.
Okay, now listen, but how do you know where to go to find these people? I mean,
well, they're not hard to find.
They're not?
No,
they wear masks, they wear hoods.
Absolutely, but you know what? When they have a rally in a public park,
yeah,
they have to apply for a permit.
Yeah.
So that's public information.
Yeah.
So I can go there and get the name, get the number, and call them and ask for a meeting.
How many people have called you crazy?
Everybody. But it's a good kind of crazy, because you know what? If I can walk away with changed hearts, we all need to be crazy.
How do you know that a person who has had one set of beliefs has changed that set of beliefs?
When a Klansman or Klanswoman sheds that clothing, they have shed their ideology. And given that robe and hood to their enemy, a black man, yeah, they're done.
What do you mean, they've done that to you?
Yeah, I have a bunch of robes and hoods.
Man.
So these are a couple of the Klan robes that I have in my collection. I have quite a few more. This Klan robe, Grand Dragon robe, was owned by a fellow named Bob White, Robert White. And he was sent to prison for 4 years for conspiring to bomb a synagogue, and went back to prison for 3 years for assault with intent to murder 2 black men with a shotgun. He went on to become one of my best friends. His day job, Baltimore City police officer.
Under the color of the law.
Now the gentleman behind you here, use the term gentleman loosely.
Shouldn't put him there. All right. How did this come to be a way of life?
Well, because we all have to have a belief. You got to change that culture, and show them other things that they can believe in. They can be somebody without believing that I need all this around me.
The mindset of racists seems so entrenched, it's hard for me to believe they could ever really change. So I'm traveling with Daryl to Memphis to meet one of his ex-KKK friends.
Scott Shepard,
hey,
how you been,
Daryl,
man? Good to see you.
you.
My friend Morgan Freeman,
Hey,
Scott
nice
Shepard.
to meet you, sir.
Scott, how did you happen to get involved with the Ku Klux Klan?
Being from the Mississippi Delta, the Klansmen all around me. I didn't have any self-confidence.
You accept the land of Christ? I do, yes.
And I got sucked in by some of their recruitment tactics, that they use to get young people in that are troubled, just like gangs in the big cities.
For God! God! For country! Country! For the family! Family! For the Klan! Klan!
From the very beginning when I joined and took the oath, there was an immediate feeling of importance.
How long were you involved?
Almost 20 years.
You think that period in your life, it was a way to get attached?
Find a home, yes, sir.
A meaning?
I grew up in a dysfunctional family. A alcoholic father, where he was very violent. But I can't blame it on that. I take full responsibility for the decisions I made.
The Klan absolutely bound by the rules of no them, no blacks,
Exactly.
no homosexuals, no Jews. Did you have any sense that that wasn't quite the way it should be?
I always had an internal battle within myself because I was raised by a black lady.
So
And-
many of us in the South were.
Yes. Rebecca raised my mother, my brother, my sister, all of us. And, I distanced myself from her. And it was a constant battle within myself, knowing that I really wasn't doing right.
What made you break from the KKK?
I left the restaurant one night from having dinner, and the police pulled me over. I failed the sobriety test. That threw me into the court system. Well, when I got inside the Alcohol and Drug Treatment Center, there was people in there of all color, religions, sexual preferences. I mean, just, the whole gamut of different people. And I got to know them, sat down. We had intimate conversations with each other, talked about our lives. The seed had been planted. I was changing.
How'd you meet Daryl?
I was stuck between a rock and a hard spot, trying to figure out where my life was. And I needed guidance.
I sent him my phone number and said, sure, I'd be happy to talk with you.
I had heard about Daryl and saw what he was doing. And of course, I told him before, I thought he was a nutcase.
I have an obligation. He's looking for somebody to trust. So why would I turn my back on someone who's looking to trust me, looking for something different? And I've always believed, if you sit down with your worst enemy for 5 minutes, you will find something in common. If you sit down with them for 10 minutes, you'll find even more in common. And if you build upon those commonalities in that relationship, it will turn into a friendship. And then those things that you have in contrast, such as trivial things like skin color, will begin to matter less and less.
I felt trust. I felt trust with, Daryl. And what he said, it made sense.
You look back on that, what do you think of it? What do you think of them as an organization?
I despise them. And would do anything I can to break down the racial barriers in this country, but they're definitely still a threat.
We can legislate behavior, but we cannot legislate how they think. The day we legislated for blacks to sit on the bus after the Rosa Parks bus boycott did not change the mindset. That came over time through grassroots conversation. Thank you.
I'm on your side. Scott, welcome home.
I appreciate it. I'm glad to be home. Been a long journey.
Daryl Davis has proven that when you open your heart to someone, you give them the opportunity to open their heart to you. And an open heart is an open mind. If more of us had the courage to get to know the people who claim to hate us, I believe we could bridge the divide between us and them.